But before that, I had done a broadcast and I had a really good idea and it just went wrong. And it's not that anything went like horribly wrong necessarily with what what I said, but just when I started, I kind of messed up a little bit in my intro. I got a few minutes into the episode, and then everything just kind of just started going wrong. So I ended up deleting that episode. But the one I did at around 2:40 a.m., I think that one went pretty well, and I uploaded that, and everything is good. Right now, I just have problems everywhere around me. But let me go to. I need to go to YouTube. Yeah, the one last night, just everything went wrong, and I ended up deleting that one. That was really frustrating. But all right, hang on. I need to redo that episode is what I need to do. I really do need to redo that episode. But I got to do this now, so this is... I need to go to YouTube. All right, turn off the live chat. Okay, good. We got that fixed. All right, we should be able to get this episode in. We should start in a minute. So just a couple of quick updates. So like I said, I did an episode about basically missing heaven by 18 inches, the distance supposedly from your head to your heart. I think that's a very important topic to deal with. I was going to turn that into a mini series, and should I have done that? Which episode should I have done first? I had everything mapped out. So I will go back and try to redo that and get that all started, because I do think it's an important discussion. Like I said, when I did the episode, I messed up a little bit in the intro, which always bothers me, right? So, which I should just be able to move on, but that already started bothering me. And then I started having problems with my throat. Then there was something irritating my nose, and it's like I'm trying to talk, and by the time it was over, I wanted it completely deleted, and so that's what I did. All right, so we'll get back to that one. The one I did this morning around 2:40 a.m., that one went okay. That's been uploaded. And now, well, I have to do an episode of the Sermon Audio Daily, so I'm going to do that now, and then we'll see if we get anything else accomplished today, all right? I know, I believe Monday. I don't know when it is. I have to look. I don't even know anymore. I do have an appointment coming up that may greatly impact my ability to broadcast. So I got to check and see when that is. And I'll give information for that when I can. So we'll get started here in just a second. All right. We will begin here in just a second. I think the streaming connection is okay. Oh, wait. I think there's a phone up here. Let me look. All right, I apologize for that, but all of a sudden I'm like, wait a minute, there's a phone up here. It will inevitably start ringing in the middle of this broadcast because that's the way it works. It will not ring. If I'm not broadcasting, it will not ring. It doesn't matter. The world could be coming to an end. It will not ring. But the second I hit the start streaming button and I go live, it starts ringing. Like, what? It's a conspiracy. Now, I could go all super spiritual. Satan does not want this broadcast to... Yeah, I could do all of that, but that's not kind of my way of thinking. All right, are you ready, ladies and gentlemen? Without any further delay, let's see if we can get an episode in and we can make this somewhat profitable and beneficial for everyone. We go live in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1.
looking at our world from a theological perspective. This is the Theology Central Podcast, making theology central.
Good morning, everyone. It is Friday, October the 17th, 2025. It is currently 11:57 a.m. Central Time, and I'm coming to you live from the Theology Central studio located right here in Abilene, Texas. Now, I know you can't smell it, but if you were in this studio right now, you would smell smoke. It is still, the air is just filled with smoke around this area because at around 2:19 a.m. Central Time this morning, I was asleep and all of a sudden I woke up, I smelled smoke, I thought the house was on fire. I ran downstairs, started looking all around, could not find the source of the smoke or where the smell was coming from. Once I determined that the house was okay, I got ready, jumped in the car. I'm like, okay. As soon as I walked outside, the neighborhood had this haze of smoke all over it. And I was like, okay, where is the fire coming from? I don't hear any sirens. What is going on? So I got in the car, not far from here. I drove down the street. There it was, this large fire, all the smoke just pouring into the neighborhood. And it still smells like smoke. I mean, like, it's a thick smell. So the fire is under control. Hopefully it's all, sooner or later, hopefully the smell will go away and things will return to normal. But at around 2:40 a.m., I turned on the microphone and did kind of a devotional thought about fire. We looked at 1 Peter and Malachi, thought it was a beneficial program. I took a kind of a different take on the whole idea of fire purifying us. I think I took it. I think my perspective is more theologically sound. I think it's more hermeneutically accurate, at least in what I did. I still need to do some more work on it, but I think overall it was beneficial. So I woke up this morning like, okay, I need to do another episode in our ongoing series that I am calling the Sermon Audio Daily, where I turn on the microphone and I try to point you to things to listen to on the Sermon Audio platform. That includes the Sermon Audio website, the Sermon Audio app. Why am I doing that? Because there are millions and millions of things to listen to. They add about 5,000 to 7,000 new sermons and lectures and devotionals every single week. Content just gets buried, and it's this huge library that I think most of us just kind of drive right by. We don't stop and go in. We don't look around. And if people do look at it, they have a couple of broadcasters maybe that they listen to. And there's just think of it of millions of books just sitting there, never going to be read, never going to be found. So I'm like, you know what? Someone needs to walk into that library at least once a day, look around, gather some things, and then turn on a microphone and say, everyone, go check these out today. And that's what I'm trying to do. And I don't know, again, how long will I do the series? It depends on how beneficial I feel that it is. I know I'm having a lot of fun looking around, right? It's fun to grab the Sermon Audio app and just start looking and looking and looking and looking and looking. And, oh, this looks interesting. Oh, let me save that. Oh, this looks interesting. Let me save that. And I'm trying to go back and listen to as much of the content I'm suggesting as well. So I'm benefiting from it. I haven't heard from listeners to see if anybody else is actually listening to what I'm suggesting. So we'll see. It's October. Before we know it, it'll be the end of December. We'll be moving into 2026. So I think October through December, it's a good test period to see what we accomplish and if we can. And in some cases, what we're trying to do is find that content that's been on Sermon Audio for like 3 years and has 3 listeners. Come on, we can try to do what we can, but I'm not just limiting it to those kinds of things. I'm choosing things that are popular as well. But I say all of that because as I was thinking about what to do for another episode in this series, the Sermon Audio Daily, I was like, well, since 2:30 in the morning, all my thoughts have been on fire. Not that my thoughts were on fire, but they were thinking about fire. Okay, you get the idea. And I can literally still smell the smoke. So I'm like, well, today I'm going to create a fire playlist. Not like, oh, that playlist is fire, like really good. But no, like about fire. Like we're going to find 5 sermons on the Sermon Audio platform that deal with the topic of fire. Okay, does that work? Okay, I have to explain everything. Okay, all right, I know what you're saying. You don't have to explain all of that. We understood. I know, I'm being a little bit, just having a little bit of fun. But so we're going to create, or I'm going to create, not we. When do I say we? I'm the only one here. I have created for you, for today, a fire playlist from Sermon Audio. I'm going to go through. So if you have the Sermon Audio app, open it up right now. You can look up each one of these sermons as I give them to you, and you can save them. You can download them. Of course, in the show notes, I will have a link to every single sermon so that you can find it that way as well. All right, are you ready? Your fire playlist for Friday, October the 17th, 2025, coming to you from the Theology Central studio, which was almost on fire. Okay, well, the fire wasn't that close, but it smelled like it was on fire. But the studio is okay. I'm okay. But let's take a journey through the Sermon Audio library and pick out 5 sermons about fire. I tried to choose things going all the way back to like the 1940s. I think something in the 1950s, all the way towards modern time, all kinds of different kinds of churches. I think I went from very Reformed. I think I think a lot of interesting content. I tried to make it a lot of variety. I will explain each one. All right, so the first one, I'm going to click on each one. The first one, it's opening. We're doing this in real time. Okay, hang on, just give me a second as it opens. All right, the first one is from Reverend Duncan Campbell. Reverend Duncan Campbell. The broadcaster is Sermon Audio Classics. Sermon Audio Classics. This is from January the 1st, 1950. January the 1st, 1950. It's 48 minutes and 38 seconds long, and the title of it is The Fire of God. The Fire of God. Reverend Duncan Campbell. Sermon Audio Classics is the broadcaster. Now, this one is very popular. It's had over 10,000 downloads and streams. The text is 1 Kings chapter 18, 37 through 38. So this takes us back to 1950, the beginning of a brand new year, January the 1st, 1950. And The Fire of God, Reverend Duncan Campbell, Sermon Audio Classics. You can probably find it relatively easy. You may want to look up the broadcaster. I think you should just look up Reverend Duncan Campbell and then look for The Fire of God. Or you could type in The Fire of God, Reverend Duncan Campbell. You should be able to find it that way. Whatever works easiest for you. Or you just wait until I upload this and go to the show notes and it will be sermon number 1. All right. The Fire of God, Reverend Duncan Campbell, Sermon Audio Classics is the broadcaster, January the 1st, 1950, 1 Kings chapter 18, verses 37 through 38, and this is under the category of classic audio. Classic audio. So this gives you a little bit of how did someone handle 1 Kings chapter 18, 37 through 38 in 1950, and what you want to ask as you listen, do they handle 1 Kings chapter 18, 37 through 8 in a correct way? Is it a descriptive passage that they make prescriptive? Do they take a literal historical event and turn it into something allegorical so they can make it applicable to us? Those are questions you should ask as you listen. All right, so that's sermon number 1 in your fire playlist. Sermon number 2 in your fire playlist is, and it's opening. Don't know why it's taking so long for things to open this morning, but that's okay. All right. Now this one should be a little bit of should be of some interest to everyone. This one is called Strange Fire. Strange Fire. Does that ring a bell? Strange Fire. Now you may be thinking something in Leviticus. Strange Fire. It's also the name of a popular book written by Pastor John MacArthur, the late John MacArthur. right? Strange Fire. Does anyone remember what that book was about? Strange Fire is about the charismatic movement. So I'm assuming this sermon, since it's preached by John MacArthur and it's called Strange Fire, I believe this is probably a critique of the charismatic movement. So this will be somewhat different and hopefully will be beneficial. Strange Fire, Pastor John MacArthur. The broadcaster is Truth Community Church. This has over 35,000 downloads and streams. Over 35,000, all right? Strange Fire, Pastor John MacArthur. The broadcaster is Truth Community Church. The date is October the 9th, 2018. I don't know exactly when, if that's just when it was uploaded or if that's when it was originally preached. I don't have that information, but you may want to check that one out. It is 49 minutes and 53 seconds. Oh, and if you look carefully on the Sermon Audio app, there is a Strange Fire Part 2 by John MacArthur, and I think there's a Strange Fire question and answer, like Part 1, Part 2, Part 3 with John MacArthur as well. So you could just do a lot of looking for Strange Fire and his critique of the charismatic movement, which I think the charismatic movement needs to be critiqued. I mean, you know my feelings about charismatic theology. If it was up to me, charismatic theology would be wiped off the face of the earth. It would not exist. I can't stand it. I loathe it. I hate it. So critique it all day. Now, I'm not referring to individuals. I'm referring to the theology, all right? The individuals, what I would love for them to do is to wake up one day and realize that the entire charismatic theological system is fraudulent and it does nothing but damage and hurt people, and it needs to be, people need to get away from it. So I think that will be an interesting one to hear. And if you've never read the book or you've never heard his preaching and teaching on the charismatic movement, you may find it interesting. Now, with any time anyone offers a critique of a group, typically they're going to make a reference maybe to sermons or to quotes. Just remember, verify. If you're going to use any of them, verify. Just do not take John MacArthur's word. Just don't take his word for it. Don't take my words for it. Always have to verify. And I know sometimes you don't have the time to do so, but then that's okay if you don't have the time to do so, but don't go around and say, well, so-and-so said this in a sermon. Whoa, wait. Did you go check that sermon to make sure? So that's all I'm saying. But you may want to hear his critique, and I'm assuming that's what it's about. I could be wrong, but just, I doubt it's just a sermon on Leviticus. I believe it's probably his critique of the charismatic movement, all right? So that's the second sermon. The third sermon, it's opening. Again, I don't know why this is taking so long for things to open. Maybe I hope the fire is not causing a problem with my internet connection. That would be really, really bad, all right? So far, we're being able to broadcast here. Maybe Sermon Audio is having an issue. I don't know. All right, this one will not open. Let's be patient here. All right, hang on. It's thinking. Yeah, all I need is things not to work right now. Okay, hang on. Here we go. I'm going to close this. I'm going to open it back up again. Sermon number 3. All right, I'm waiting. Well, let's go to what I have for sermon number 4 and see if that one will open. Oh, here we go. The third one finally opened. All right. Now, this one is going back to like 1930s, 1940s. This is taking us way back. This is from a series entitled Rare Recordings from the Past. Rare Recordings from the Past. You may want to look up this series. The speaker is Peter Marshall. This is from the broadcaster Sermon Index Audio Sermons. All right, Peter Marshall, the series Rare Recordings from the Past, the broadcaster Sermon Index Audio Sermons. The title of the sermon is Trial by Fire by Dr. Peter Marshall, brought by Peter John Parsis with Permission. I know that's a long title. Just look, Trial by Fire by Dr. Peter Marshall. You should be able to find it. Trial by Fire by Dr. Peter Marshall, or you could look up the series Rare Recordings from the Past. Dr. Peter Marshall, the introduction says, one of America's most popular preachers or something to that level. I've never even heard of the name Dr. Peter Marshall. I don't know why I never heard of the name, but I never have. But obviously in 1930s or early 1940, he was obviously super popular. So it's taking us way back. And I think I love that historical context. How did they handle the subject of trial by fire? And according to the description here, it says, I have received permission from Reverend Peter Marshall Jr. to host some of these rare audio sermons of Dr. Peter Marshall and his son too. This is copyrighted. Praise God. All right. I'm not a big fan of copywriting sermons, but that's okay. This has had over 12,000 downloads, but it should be interesting to hear. There's no text offered here. To me, I think it's probably 1 Peter verses 5 through 7. I could be wrong, but Trial by Fire by Dr. Peter Marshall. All right, that's the next sermon. Then, the other one saying it cannot open. Let me go back here. 1, 2, 3. Let's see. Let's go to the next one. See if it will open. All right, being patient here. I do not know why these will not open today. All right, hang on. Here we go. This next one. There we go. This one is called Christians on Fire by Caleb Phelps. Phelps. Caleb Phelps. The broadcaster is Faith Baptist Church, Taylor's, I believe, South Carolina. This is from their series, Fired Up to Serve. Fired Up to Serve. So look for the series, Fired Up to Serve, Christians on Fire, Caleb Phelps, Faith Baptist Church, Taylor, South Carolina. This one is from 2023. The text is 2 Timothy chapter 1, verses 6 through 7. 2 Timothy chapter 1, verses 6 through 7. Now, this goes to, the reason I chose this one is because now this is kind of going in a different direction, right? We've got a trial by fire. We got the fire of God. We've got a critique of charismatic theology with strange fire. And then this one is the idea, are you on fire for Jesus? Are you on fire for God? Well, what does it mean to be on fire? And what's interesting, it says Christians on fire. Hang on, I'm going to look here. The text kind of caught me off guard here. 2 Timothy chapter 1, verse 6. Oh, no, okay. This is why I remind you to fan into flames the spiritual gift God gave you. Now, wait, is that... Okay, well, there's a lot I could do. I say I already want to start exegeting the text, but all right. Christians on Fire, all right? Go listen to that one again. The series, Fired Up to Serve, Caleb Phelps, Faith Baptist Church. This is 2023. So we've gone all the way from like the 1930s, 1950, 2018. Now we're in 2023. I'm giving you a variety of times, a variety of different ways to look at the topic of fire. I think I'm giving you hopefully a fire playlist. And I think we have one more. Let's hope it opens. I do apologize for the delay here on some of these sermons opening. I don't know why the Sermon Audio website is having great difficulty. Here we go. Now the last one, I need you to make sure you hear me out on this one. You can either, for the last one, watch the entire church service because they uploaded it all. I prefer they would just upload the sermons, but if you want to watch the whole thing, this is from a series, Old-Fashioned Preaching Service. Old-fashioned preaching service. So I think you kind of get the idea. This is going to be like a revivalist type approach to the subject of fire. This is the pastor or the speaker is Tony Hudson. Tony Hudson. The broadcaster is Gethsemane Baptist Church. November the 13th, 2018. It's a special meeting, and the title of it, Getting Fire from Heaven. Getting Fire from Heaven. I can just hear this one. I haven't listened to it yet, but I can just feel, I started watching enough of it to know that the sermon doesn't happen till later on. But I bet you it's going to be kind of that kind of revivalist kind of preaching, and Jesus said, go forth and do that type of preaching. So that's going to add a whole different tradition and style to this fire playlist. This is Getting Fire from Heaven, the series Old-Fashioned Preaching Service, Tony Hudson, Gethsemane Baptist Church, November the 13th, 2018. There you have it. There is your fire playlist. All right. Do you need me to go through these all again? Hopefully they open quickly. All right. The first one, hopefully they open quickly. I don't want to go back through them, but typically you would summarize what you've just said. That's how you typically do so in speaking. So I just don't know if these are going to load anymore. Okay, here the first one is The Fire of God, Duncan Campbell, Sermon Audio Classics. Right, January the 1st, 1950, 1 Kings 18, 37 through 38. That's the first one, all right? The Fire of God. Right. The second one was, if you remember, some of you should be able to repeat these back to me. See, if I had a live audience, I'd be like, repeat these back to me. All right, here we go. I'm waiting for the second one to load. Yeah, I don't know why. Okay, the second one is Strange Fire, Pastor John MacArthur, the broadcaster Truth Community Church, October 9th, 2018. And, there's no description or anything. So I'm assuming Strange Fire, John MacArthur, I think of his book, Strange Fire. And I'm assuming this is his critique of the charismatic movement. And I would challenge you to listen to it. That's number 2. The third one is Trial by Fire by Dr. Peter Marshall. This is from like 1930, 1940. This is a classic sermon. This one is only 27 minutes long, so it should make you go through it. It should get through it relatively quick. And I'm assuming it's on 1 Peter 1, verses 5 through 7. I could be wrong, but that's what I'm thinking. All right. Then the fourth one is Christians on Fire, Caleb Phelps, Faith Baptist Church, Taylor, South Carolina. The series is Fired Up to Serve. And then last but not least is one from a completely different tradition. This is Getting Fire from Heaven, Tony Hudson, the series Old-Fashioned Preaching Service. Go listen to all 5 or pick the one that actually, you know what? Okay. For the Sermon Audio Daily, I have to be realistic here. When I give these playlists of 5 or I tell you about a broadcaster that has like 300 sermons, I can't expect you to go listen to all of them. Even on a playlist of 5, you got a life. So pick the one that you think looks interesting, or at least just download all of them. And then whenever you're busy or doing something, you can just let me grab the Sermon Audio app, go to my downloads, play. After it's done, delete it. There you go. That's what I would say to do. A lot of times that's what I do. If I have to go somewhere, run an errand, I just grab the iPad. I go to my download section of the Sermon Audio app, hit play to whatever is downloaded. And then, sometimes I'm driving going, oh, that's really good. And then sometimes I'm driving and I'm yelling and screaming at the audio being played and people looking at me going, what is he yelling about? There's no one in the car with him. What is he screaming about, right? And then they see me pull into the Eskimo hut and get a lot of alcohol. And they're like, oh, he must be listening to a sermon. Okay, all right. A little bit of joking, but not much. All right. So there's your fire playlist, all inspired by an actual fire that I still smell the smoke from, not too far from the studios here, and woke me up at 2:19 a.m. And then I went trying to find the fire and I found it. All right. So there you have it. Okay. Which is kind of interesting that I found this one because I don't even remember what night it was. I was out and I was the first one on the scene of this huge fire. I thought the zoo here in Abilene, Texas was on fire. It was a fire right next to the zoo. Huge thing. I took video of it. That video has been used by the city of Abilene, the Abilene Fire Department, all the news agency. I think it's got like 60,000 views now because I came upon I was like, what is going on? The zoo's on. Where is any? I need someone here, right? Get the fire department. So yeah. And, for some weird reason, I keep stumbling upon fires. Okay. Well, this one last night or this morning I didn't stumble upon it. It stumbled upon me. All right. So, yeah, we need rain. Okay. I mean, for those who don't know, it's like a desert here in West Texas, and we need some rain. Everything's dry. Now, the fire near the zoo, that was arson. Someone set that one. I don't know what the cause of this one was, but, everything's dry. So one spark, everything's going to be burning down. So, yeah, I was getting nervous because right next to where the studio is, right next to it on the other side of the fence, it's just this huge field. And in that field is just this super tall grass, right? There's no cattle over there. Or sometimes they have cattle, but for the most part, it's just like, I'm like, go cut all of that down, plow it up and turn it into dirt, because one spark hits that grass. The whole neighborhood's going to burn to the ground, right? It's like, because it's all dry, and it's like, man, I look over the fence, I'm like, all it takes is one spark and this place is gone. All right. So, yeah, not that you care, but fire. That's why you get a fire playlist, because fire has been so prevalent around me lately. All right. Go listen. Happy listening. Sorry it took almost 30 minutes. It should have gone faster, but those load times for sermon audio today was weird. I don't know why. I'm hoping we're not having internet problems, but we didn't get disconnected, but we'll see. All right. Thanks for listening. Did I say happy listening? Oh, I got to smack myself. Not happy listening. Sermons are not always happy listening things. They're not supposed to be, right? Supposed to be challenging, sometimes convicting. So beneficial listening. God bless.